one day I shall come back.
Oh dear, we are in trouble, aren't we?
I've reversed the polarity of the neutron flow, so the TARDIS should be free of the force field now.
I have the advantage of being slightly ahead of you. Sometimes behind you, but normally ahead of you.
But the trouble with time travel is, one never seems to find the time.
Change, my dear. And it seems not a moment too soon.
Unlimited rice pudding, etc., etc.
A meteor storm that the sky above us was dancing with lights. Purple, green, brilliant yellow, yes!
I'm the doctor, by the way. What's your name?
Rose.
Nice to meet you, Rose.
Run for your life.
It's more like a big ball of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
Just remember who's standing in your way.
Look at the eyebrows. These are attack eyebrows. You can take bottle tops off with these.
Hey, you fans, and welcome to the Big Blue Box podcast. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And welcome to episode 101.
I love those intro clips, you know. I always want to shout unlimited rice pudding alongside McCoy.
There was a little pause there because I was waiting for you to do your usual thing, but have you canned it now?
No, it's canned after episode 100.
Oh, it's gone, is it?
It's gone.
Right, just so I know in the future.
Yeah, I might surprise you with it now and again.
So, Who fans, hope you've had a fantastic week and that you've managed to do something Doctor Who related in your lives. How have you been, buddy?
I've been good. Yes, very good. Thanks. Yeah, I'm another year older now. Thank you for your birthday picture of me with my Sonic. Very nice.
Year older and a year wiser.
If only. I think I'm getting worse, actually. A year older and a year more stupider. But yeah, I'm a year older, but that did mean that I could go up to London for the day and spend money and not feel guilty. Because I was just like, I went up to FP, Forbidden Planet, and I was just like, right, I can buy what I like today. It's my birthday, blah, blah, blah. I can do whatever I want. And so I did. But actually, surprisingly, there wasn't that much in there I wanted. So I didn't spend too much, but I did finally get the Target book. The new hardback edition. Went through all 100 copies on the shelf to find the perfect one, and then and then got battered to bits on the way home. But no, I'm really pleased with that. It's a great book. What else did I get? Oh, I bought a Lethbridge Stewart novel. They had Moon Blink on the shelf, so I grabbed that, and a couple of comics. Yeah, nice. And a couple of Titans. I thought, because I didn't get many presents. When you get to my age, you don't get much in the way of things to open, so I didn't get many presents. But so I thought I'll
get the violins out. Here we go.
Yeah, where's that tiny violin? So I thought I'll go and sit and have a coffee. I'll open some blind bags because you know I love them. So I bought a couple of those. I got an X-Files one, Doctor Who one, obviously, a Sherlock one, and a Ghostbusters one. And
cool.
Sat there in the little coffee shop opening those. I have to say, I have never had such bad luck with Titans as I've had with the Sherlock collection. I literally wanted to dunk it in my coffee and destroy it. I think there's about 12 in that series, and I've managed to get about 20 John Watson figures, and none of the others. I opened it and it's another John Watson. I was like, oh, for goodness sake! So that series has just done me in, really. But I still keep buying them in the hope that I just might get a different figure. I did,
dude. That's the luck of the draw, mate.
I know, that is the thing with those blooming Titans, isn't it?
Blooming
Times. But yeah, so I've had a good week. I had a nice week up in London, and visited the old sci-fi collector shop, Stamp Centre, as it's known on the Strand there. And they've still got some classic Doctor Who sets in there. They've got one that I'd quite like, of the John Pertwee. I think it's the Time Warrior set with the big Sontaran ball. I was eyeing that up, but I didn't get it. So yeah, it's a very good day. And apart from that, not a lot. Come home, read my comics, watched our review app, and here we are, ready to go.
Here we are.
Yeah. What about you? What have you been up to? I know you've bought a Funko Pop.
Have I?
K9.
I bought him ages ago.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I thought it was only recently we were talking about him and I was trying to convince you to buy him. No. Or was that ages ago?
No, I bought him when I went into London and met up with, I bumped into Adam, the ultimate Whovian.
Ah.
And then we took a trip over to FP and picked him up then.
Oh, right. It's just that only now you've posted an Instagram picture.
Yeah. Well, I was dusting all the figures off on the shelf, so I thought I'd stick the old K9s together. Yeah, not much, mate. Yeah, I just wanted, before I get into what I've been up to, just wanted to say again, huge happy birthday, buddy.
Oh, thanks very much. Yeah,
many happy returns. Hope you got all you wanted.
I did. Actually, I must just say thanks to everybody who wished me a happy birthday on the Facebook post that you put up as well, because a lot of people left messages, and I tried to reply to everybody. And yeah, thank you to for all your birthday wishes. It really was lovely, actually, because I was up in London. I spent a lot of time on my own, which is what I wanted, because I didn't want anyone else with me while I was shopping, because I wanted to spend hours in the shop without someone saying, "Are you done yet?" So it was really nice. I was just shopping, getting loads of notifications, loads of messages from you guys. So thanks very much for all your birthday wishes. It was really, really nice of you. Thanks.
You felt the love. I
really did. Yeah, I really did. And I got home and I thought I'd managed to reply to everybody. But because I'd put so many pictures up at the day, I was finding loads of posts that I'd missed because I'd sort of click on a picture that I'd put up. So say if I'd put up 4 pictures in one post, and people had sort of commented on individual pictures as well. So there were loads of messages that I'd missed at one point. So hopefully I got to say thanks to everybody. But if I didn't, I'm saying it now. Thanks.
If I didn't, here's a catch-all.
Yeah, here's a big,
thank you,
big old thank you.
Oh, nice one, dude. Me, what have I been up to? Not much really. Done a bit of the old classic watching as usual over the past week. Watched a couple of McCoys. Watched Remembrance.
Yeah.
Again.
You like that one now, don't you?
Do I?
Yes, you do.
I can't say.
Yeah.
I can't say too much because I'm sure that we're going to do a revisit of that.
Yeah, I thought we were going to do that for episode 200.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I've probably watched it a few more times since then. But it's definitely an interesting one. Definitely lots in there to talk about.
Yeah.
That's for
I
sure.
think, let's put it this way, you see it in a different light to when we reviewed it, which was way back. When, yeah.
Yes.
Would it be fair to say that? Yeah.
Yes, it would.
Yeah.
I don't even know when we reviewed it. It was a long time ago.
It was anyway. A while back, yeah.
And and I'm not going to. Yeah, I don't want to talk about the actual story too much because I want to leave that for when we do revisit it. But I think most of you guys know that my opinion on Mr. McCoy has changed somewhat over the past year or so. I started off really just not being into his Doctor at all, really. I just couldn't, no matter how hard I tried, I just could not get into, the McCoy era. Just couldn't do it. And I don't know maybe if you guys remember, I've got a terrible memory, but if you remember on Twitter or Facebook, I probably put a post on there or something to say, I've sort of turned a corner and really got into McCoy. And there was a reason for it. I can't remember, but something just clicked. It must have been an episode that I watched of his. Something just clicked in me. And my opinion just changed almost overnight about McCoy.
I think, wasn't it when you were watching, it was either Ghostlight or Curse of Fenric? I seem to remember you putting up a post saying, something's like clicked.
I think it was
McCoy.
I think it was Fenric.
I think it might have been Fenric, yeah.
Yeah, I think that story, or McCoy in that story, really sort of, got me into his thing.
Yeah.
But yes, huge fan of McCoy.
I'm glad about that because I love that era, and I sometimes you have to sort of defend McCoy. Not everybody likes that era, but I think he is quite a popular Doctor now, which wasn't always the case. Yeah, so I'm glad you've got into him.
Yeah, and I think also because of doing the podcast and being able to talk to Andrew Cartmel and reading his book, and it does get you more into that whole era. So it's good.
Yeah, because all the stuff behind the scenes, you mean, is a bit more interesting than you might think. Yeah. Yes,
absolutely. Also, today, in fact, Big Finish have released the Classic Doctor's New Monsters box set.
Yes. Starting to think they'd forgotten, didn't you?
Finally. They left it a bit late, didn't they? I know they said July, but they're cutting it a wee bit fine.
They are.
Because I hounded them on Twitter a little bit last week.
You weren't the only one.
So I'm not being funny, but is this coming out of what? You say July, that's almost up. Give me it.
Yeah.
Immediately. I want it. I paid money for it.
Let's have it.
I want it now. slightly impatient, but I'll tell you what, the cover art is amazing.
It's great, isn't it? So have you started downloading it, have you?
Yes.
Yes, I will be doing so as soon as we finish this podcast, actually. I wonder if it's on because I've downloaded the Big Finish app.
It is on the app.
It's on the app? Oh, yes. Great. So I'll be able to put it straight on my phone. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one very much. Yeah.
Yes. But Tom Webster is the guy that did the cover art for it.
Mm-hmm.
Such a cool guy as well. If you search for him on YouTube, if you just do Tom Webster Doctor Who or Tom Webster Big Finish or something, there's a few videos of him. I think he knocks about with Crystal from the Doctor Who fan show now and then. Really, really cool guy. And his artwork's just amazing. Like,
I'm wondering if he's done. I saw somebody posted this morning. Where is it? This is obviously just gone up on Big Finish site, I assume. The cover art for Order of the Daleks. Have you seen this?
Yes.
Sixth Doctor with a Dalek that's sort of made of, that's like church windows and scaffolding, and it's a really interesting cover. I wonder if he did that one.
No, he didn't. No.
Oh, he didn't.
That's
okay.
not Tom. That's a guy called Hollab. What's his name? It's a guy called something Hollab, and his artwork is equally as impressive. It's amazing.
I'm really liking the look of this, yeah, because I'm a bit bored of the Daleks on Big Finish, I'll be honest with you, but just by the cover alone, I think I might order that. It looks really nice.
Yeah, it's like made out of stained glass windows, this Dalek.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's amazing. Yes, Simon Hollab is the cover artist for that one.
Ah, well, nice one, Simon.
Equally as good. So yeah, looking forward to listening to that later. It's going to be, hoping it's going to be epic. The other thing really is just getting ramped up for Comic-Con, London Comic-Con this weekend.
That's it. I was going to ask you if you were getting ready. I see they finally posted the photo shoot schedule. Have you seen it?
Finally, yeah, they've left that late as well.
Yeah. Can you make head or tail of it? Because
I have no idea what I'm looking at.
I looked at it the other day, and there's all different colours, and I don't know. I'm probably being stupid, but no, I can't work it out at all. I was just thinking, I don't know.
Literally, it's just one of those hands up, big shrug, like,
yeah,
whatever. Like, we'll figure it out on the day, I suppose. But
yeah,
honestly, I can't make head nor tail of it. It's yeah, and I saw tweets as well to people from people tweeting Showmasters saying, it's my first time going, I'm really nervous, I don't know what's going on. And they're just replying like, oh, it's all fine. The FAQs are nice and simple. Just read them, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there thinking, yeah.
It depends how busy it is, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it's going to be super busy.
Yeah, although...
they haven't sold out, though.
I think Doctor Who-wise, no, they haven't sold out, no. And I'm thinking Doctor Who-wise, the Sunday might be the busier, because it seems that's the more Doctor Who orientated in terms of guests.
Yeah.
So I got a feeling most Doctor Who fans will probably be there on the Sunday, I assume. Yeah. The only reason I've been looking forward to this photo schedule coming up is because when I went to the Cardiff Comic Con, was that this year or last year? I've forgotten now.
Last year,
blimey, it's gone quick. I only wanted to meet a few people, and I think I had like 3 or 4 photo shoots. So I thought, that's not going to take long. And it was the whole day went so quick, and it was so manic. And I was just thinking, blimey, there's a lot more people I want to meet at the London one, so I better be a bit more organised for this one. But having looked at the schedule, I'm just like, huh?
Yeah,
so I don't know. As long as we get that picture.
Yep.
Both of us with both get a picture with McCoy and McGann on the TARDIS. We'll both be happy, won't we?
Absolutely, yes.
And I think it's, from what I can gather, I think it's quite late in the day on Sunday, which is good for me. Because I think on the Saturday it's like 11:30. And I was thinking, gosh, if I was trying to get up to that, might be pushing it for me, because I don't think I'll get there till about 11:30, 12. I don't think.
Okay, I'm planning to get up there fairly early.
Oh yeah,
on the Sunday now, yeah, because I want to get up there and hit FP first.
Wow, they won't be open till 12, will they, on a Sunday?
No, not on Sundays.
I thought there was like a trading law that you can go in, but you're not allowed to buy anything.
Really?
Until 12. I don't know. Sunday trading laws in the UK are a bit.
Oh, that might scupper the plans then.
Yeah, might need to check on that.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm going to get up there fairly early anyway, and just grab a coffee and chill out.
I did see some people saying as well, they're like, you started the photo shoots at 9:30, obviously doors open at 9, a lot of people going in. Is that not sort of a bit, cutting it a bit fine. And they were just like, no, should be all right. Should be all right. Some of the photo shoots are like 60 odd quid. It's just, they're a bit blasé about it, aren't they? Like, yeah, whatever. And the photo clashes as well. I saw somebody today saying, what about the photo clashes? And they were just like, well, yeah, you should be able to sort it out. You know what I mean? It's just like, these aren't cheap. You know what I mean? They're taking our money, but they're not that, it's down to you, isn't it? If they clash. And that's the only thing about not having a schedule up. People can't really plan it when they buy the things, can they?
That's true. Yeah. And I saw a photo on there, which I didn't see before, because I knew that Paul McGann, was doing a shoot in the TARDIS, and then they added the Paul McGann and Sylvester McCoy.
Yeah.
But now you can get McCoy, McGann, and Colin Baker in the TARDIS. Yeah,
I saw that, but then like a lot of people commented, I thinking, well, Colin, no, I don't really want Sylvester and McGann because they're in the TV movie. I don't really, no offense to Colin, I don't really want him in there because he's nothing to do with that console. If you see what I mean.
Is he like the third wheel? Is he like
That's the way I see it. Yeah, I just want McGann and McCoy because they're part of the TV movie. Sorry, Colin.
You're not wanted this time. Get out.
Get out. I think they're doing one with Michelle Gomez as well, and she can get out.
Yeah, she can do one.
She's not got anything to do with that lovely 8th Doctor console. Get out.
Yeah. How do you feel about this then, Colin? Change, my dear. Anyways, it's going to be cool. Sunday's going to be an awesome day. I think it's going to be a knackering, tiring, long day. So it's going to have to be comfy shoes day.
Yes.
But yes, looking forward to that.
Very much. Yeah, can't wait, actually. Coming round quick.
Before we do the news, let's announce the winner of our giveaway while we remember.
Yes, good idea.
It'll get to the end of the show and we'll finish, and then we'll get loads of tweets and messages saying, are you guys taking the bleep?
I did underline it on my notes today and still forgot until you just said it.
Right. Let me just load up the randomizer thingy-majiggy.
That's it.
Right, here we go.
I wish you could get some 70s sound effect when you do this. So when you start the randomizer, we can get a sort of...
I will do that for next time.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll leave you to do it. Okay. Right, here we go. I'm going to push the button. This happens in like a half a second, by the way, but if you want to do it for a few seconds, then that's fine. Right, 3, 2, 1, go.
And drum roll. The winner is...
Alex Kingdom.
Alex Kingdom,
yes.
Oh, well done, Alex. I'm glad about that, actually, because Alex contributes every week. So well done, Alex. Well deserved.
Nice one, buddy. We will be in touch. We'll email you or something and get your deets, and we'll get that stuff out to you.
Oh, superb.
Good stuff. Rightio. Shall we land the TARDIS and do some news?
Yes, let's do it.
First up, any of you listeners that are into writing your own Doctor Who stories could be in luck if you want one of them published. There's a self published book going out over in Canada later on in the year by Pencil Tip Publishing, and it's called The Temporal Logbook 2. They did one a while ago, which was which was really highly rated. Apparently, I personally hadn't heard of this before, but I did a little read up on it, and apparently it was rated quite highly. Okay. So they're going to do a version 2, and they're going to open it up for submission. So you've got an entire day, which will be July the 31st, and it's essentially a series of short stories for each Doctor. And if you, like I said, if you're into your fan fiction, if you've written Doctor Who stories before, or there's something in the back of your mind, if you've sat there and you've watched a particular story, or you've listened to a Big Finish or something like that, and you've got this really cool idea in your head, you're like, wow, that would be a really good Doctor Who story. This could be your chance to get it down in black and white and get it out in a book. So all you have to do is email a 1 to 2 page outline of what the basic plot of your story, essentially, and a brief bio about yourself. And that's it. So even if you haven't got the completed story done in your head yet, or if you've got a really good idea, then all you need to do is email that over. So it's 1 to 2 pages. I'm assuming like an A4 Word document or something like that. Your full name and email, a brief bio about yourself. And then what they'll do is they'll go through all of the submissions and they'll pick out like the best ideas, really. The ones that they feel will make the best story. And they're looking for stories for each Doctor. So it's going to be, this book will be made up of 12 stories. And it's going to be one story per Doctor, from Hartnell through to Capaldi, yes. I had McGann in my head then. I was thinking, that doesn't stop at McGann, does it? So this sounds really good. I'm not sure about anyone else in there, but there are numerous times when I'm sitting in a bath or I'm on the train or something like that, and I think to myself, that would make a cool Doctor Who story. But then I just don't have, I just don't write it down, or I just, I sort of lose it and I don't, progress that idea any further. If that's something that you've done, just put it down. Just get a Post-it note, get a piece of paper, open up your laptop, whatever, get the idea down, send it over. You never know. They might think, yeah, that's a really cool story. Then the pressure's on to actually write the story. But they're only short stories, so you don't have to write a novel. You don't have to go crazy, anything like that. It's just a collection of short stories. The temporal logbook, so the 31st of July, we'll put a link in the show notes, and you could have your story printed in a book, which would be awesome. Cool. And sorry, this temporal logbook version 2, it's not out this year. It's out early next year.
Yeah.
But
I know a lot of people do. I know a lot of people do like their own fan series and fan fiction Doctor Who, don't they? So yeah, go for it, guys.
Go for it.
Okay, in other news, the Mothball, as you call him, I love that. The Mothball. He's been talking about Series 10 in Doctor Who magazine, this month's Doctor Who magazine, which actually comes out today or yesterday, I suppose it will be by the time this podcast goes out. I'm still waiting for mine to drop through the letterbox.
All crumpled up.
I'm sure it'll be folded in
mangled.
half and pushed through any minute now. But looks like another cracking issue, by the way, just before we get into this news thing. It's got the second half of the 12 Doctors poster, and it's got some art cards in it, so it looks like a cracking issue. But yeah, Stephen Moffat, he's basically been saying that when he agreed to do one more run, he thought, and I'm quoting him here, "Sod it, I'm not doing the march to the scaffold. I want it to feel like a brand new show. I want it to feel like episode 1 of a new series. I want to leave it's all just beginning. I want to leave it like it's all just beginning," he says. Yeah, which is interesting because he may be thinking that, but so far from what we know of it, it feels really stale to me. So I'm really hoping that we're going to be in for a real surprise when Series 10 hits the screens. And I'm liking that he's thinking along those lines. So I hope he's right. I hope that's what actually ends up translating onto screen, because I think it needs some freshening up.
Yeah,
for sure.
That was music to my ears when I read that.
Yeah.
And I like you. I'm a little bit skeptical because what we've seen in, all the various shoots and little snippets that they've put out and stuff, it doesn't feel like a new show just yet. But then that's a bit unfair to sort of slap that assumption on it when we've only seen little snippets. It's hardly an indication of what we're going to see on the screen, next year. So, however, I think the only reason we're saying that is because we as blasé as we can say it like this, we know the Moff fairly well by now. It's not like he's a first time writer and we don't really know what he's about. We've been involved in what's in his head for the past how many years now? 3-4 years, longer.
Yeah.
So we know him fairly well. So we know what he's about. However, it is really good to hear that he's just basically saying, just as his quote said, like, sod it. I'm just going to do... And that's what we said, didn't we? I think going back 4 or 5 episodes when we were speaking about Series 10, we said, didn't we, that we were hoping that his attitude was, sod it. I'm going to do it the way I want to do it. I'm going to, So this is good. This is really good that he wants to make it feel like a brand new show. because the worst thing that could happen was for it to feel like something that we've already seen for the past few years. And when we come on to our review of Crimson Horror, that was one of the things that I initially thought when I started watching it. I was like, oh, this doesn't feel, like something cutting edge and, something new and exciting. So I'm really hoping that this new series, and I'm not sure how the Christmas special is going to pan out. I'm really not sure how that's going to link into Series 10, if at all. I'm not sure, but good news so far.
Yeah, definitely. He does go on to say a little bit about Pearl as well, which I think is important in making this series feel fresh, because obviously we get a new companion, which does bring a bit of excitement with it, doesn't it? So he says Pearl's has this sort of boldness and ability to tap into the humour of the part without making it an overtly comic performance, which was a bit like you said earlier, music to my ears, because I did think in her intro clip she was a little bit theatre and over the top. So hopefully she'll find her feet a bit more when she actually gets into the full series. So yeah, like you said, I hope we get to see some good stuff from the Moff in his final tenure.
Yeah. Next in the news, we've got a really funny video that have been released. From Ralph Little, who you might know from the Royal Family. 2 pints of lager and a packet of crisps. Those I'm saying you must know him. He's a very popular British actor, young guy. And there was a few tweets that did the rounds going back a few weeks now about Ralph Little being spotted in Cardiff.
Well, there was did you see these pictures of there was like this van part of the crew with a great big window inside of it. It might have been like a what do you call it? Like, not a van, but what do you call it? A stationary van.
Yes.
And basically had a big window in it, and you could see all these casting pictures up on the wall. Because I was saying, well, if that's supposed to be top secret, they're not doing a very good job by hiding it, having it clearly visible through this massive window at the side of it. Like porter cabin was the word I was trying to think of. And his picture was up there with a name and all that. So I think that started it.
Yeah.
And obviously he's been spotted down in Cardiff, but
so they've put this video out, which is hilarious. It's him doing like a selfie video, and he starts off, he's just in like a black corridor. It's just darkness. He's in this corridor and he's like, I just want to put to rest, I want to deny any of the rumours that I'm involved with Doctor Who. And as he's talking, he's walking onto the TARDIS set. It is like, I've had no involvement in the show. I've never even visited the set. Anything like that. And he's walking around the TARDIS. He goes up on the balcony and he walks around. And the way it's done is just so funny because it's only short. It's only, I don't know.
It's just a minute
or so long, yeah. But he's completely straight in the video. He doesn't give anything away, does he?
No, it's a great little video. And I only watched it this morning before we kicked off. And it's brilliant because, like you said, he's clearly being sort of bit cheeky with it, and the TARDIS just looks amazing anyway in the background, doesn't it? He's obviously walking around with a selfie stick. This TARDIS set is beautiful, just when you just have somebody just walking around it like that. But it's really nice to sort of to do it that way because it's something a bit different, isn't it? So clearly we're assuming he is in it, but it's a fun way of doing it. I think it does make me think though, could there be more to it? Could it be that he's forgotten? Is it a sort of play on the joke that perhaps the silence are coming back and he's forgotten or something? I don't know. I just wondered if there was more to the fact that he's pretending he's forgotten he's in it. Probably not, but I like to read in. Possibly, I like to read into these things. Yeah,
it's a great little video though. I've watched it a couple of times and it's just so funny.
Yeah.
So Ralph Little, he's not a bad actor actually. He's quite good from what I've seen him in.
Yeah, I only really know him from Royal Family because I didn't really watch 3 pints of lager and a packet of crisps. but yeah, he's a good little actor. Yeah, I think he'll be quite good in it if he is in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's safe to say that he is.
Yeah, I think so.
Because the photo of they put out as well is him leaning across the TARDIS console.
Yeah.
So I think it's safe to say Ralph Little will be in Series 10.
Yeah.
So yes, that's funny. Go and check it out.
Go and check out the video clip. Okay, and finally in the news, and here is a great bit of news. John Barrowman is such a big tease in so many ways, all of them good. Basically, he's been on a few talk shows recently, and And he's basically said that he's trying to get Torchwood back on TV, sort of hinting that he's in discussions, isn't it? That he's been speaking to people. And he was at San Diego Comic Con over the weekend, and he said, I have a phone conversation on Monday to see how we can get it back on television. The fans know me well enough. I'm only going to say it if I mean it and believe it. So I know, we all know that Barrowman loves playing Captain Jack. He would return to that role in a flash, be it in Doctor Who or Torchwood, I think. It's quite exciting that the thought that there are talks going on to bring it back to TV, and I find this quite hopeful, even though there's nothing confirmed or whatever. I find it quite hopeful that he's in discussions to bring it back to TV.
Yes, this is an interesting one, and I think this is a natural sort of progression for Torchwood over the past year, because it started with Big Finish bringing back Torchwood.
Yes, yeah.
With the Big Finish stuff, which is, as we all know, is completely canon and official. You know, because the license agreement with Big Finish is that they continue or enhance and bring out new stories based on the actual characters and situations from the show.
Yeah.
So that's an all official thing. Then we had the Titan comic run, where we had a brand new storyline and a brand new just a collection of stories, and I think they were written by John Barrowman. I think he was one of the writers on there.
He definitely had some involvement. Yeah, he might have been a writer, I'm not sure. Yeah.
And then we've had a couple of books as well, written by John Barrowman and his sister. Her name escapes me now, but they sort of co-wrote a couple of Torchwood novels, didn't they?
Yes.
So it's all kind of ramped up slowly over the past year or so. So I think this is like the next sort of natural step for Torchwood, is to actually come back on TV. And I think there's definitely demand for it. I think if an announcement went out to say that Torchwood was coming, even if it was for just one more series, I think the fans would be very pleased.
Oh, there's definitely still a big fan base out there for it. Yeah, absolutely. I think it could come back. It is a shame we've lost a couple of the main characters, you know, that they got killed off, because I think when you look at, you know, series 1, 2 and even Children of Earth and that they were a great team, weren't they? Yeah, so, I mean, we've only really got, out of the original team, only really got Gwen and Jack left, haven't we? Is there anyone else survive? Reese, I suppose.
Reese, yeah.
Yanto is, of course, dead. Mind you, this is Torchwood. Anything could happen. They could have anything lurking in that basement to bring characters back, and we all know that nobody dies in Doctor Who, so why should that not apply to Torchwood? Do you know what I mean? They could bring anyone back, couldn't they? If they really wanted to.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's in the world of TV, especially Doctor Who.
Yeah.
You know, if John Barrowman has a word with the Mothball, I'm sure he'll say, well, yeah, I did it with Clara a few times. Don't worry about it. The fans love it. But yeah, I think Torchwood coming back would be cool.
It would be good. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Like to see it.
Yes, that concludes the news. Daleks are waiting.
I can hear him outside banging plungers against the door. Let us in, let us in.
Merch corner. Merch corner. Merch corner.
I don't know whether to be impressed or disgusted.
It's a bit rubbish, but it's pretty. It's very pretty.
It's very pretty.
Really pretty.
Right, we've only got a couple of bits of merch to go through, but this first one is so good.
This surprised me when this popped up yesterday.
Yeah.
And that was actually unintended, what I just said there, but it did surprise me.
It did. Me as well. Me included. You guys know that we love the Pop Funko figures. You and I have got quite a few of them.
We have, yeah.
And they're releasing a new series 3. And I tell you, mate, a couple of these look absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, they really do. I think this is a really nice little collection, actually. I'm surprised and delighted. Yeah.
It's so there's 6 new figures in the series, consisting of David Tennant in his blue suit carrying his hand in the little biotank thing.
It's a good hand. No, what does he say? Is it good hand? I don't know.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Look, that looks really good. The only thing is,
it's a fighting hand. That's
it. Yeah, it's a fighting hand. The only thing is, and you have to. This is something you just have to deal with the Pop Funkos, is that they will use the same head sculpt and the same body and stuff from previous figures. They just add like a little prop to it or something like that.
Yeah.
However, the blue suit with the red Converse and stuff does look very cool.
It looks great. I like the blue suit.
Yeah. It looks great. Next up is the 11th Doctor, where he has the cyber technology stuff over his face. What was his Mr. Clever?
Mr. Clever, yeah, from the Nightmare.
Nightmare.
I just call it the Nightmare. I don't even bother finishing that set. Yeah, the Nightmare story. Yeah,
he looks really good. Next up, we have the 12th Doctor in his Sonic shades, holding a guitar in his hoodie and t-shirt.
I may hate the Sonic shades, but this figure looks great.
You can't hate this figure. I know you and I, along with so many other people, have bashed the Sonic shades to death now. However, the Pop Funkos, they look so cute. He does look very good. And then we've got Davros.
Yeah, he's large, isn't he? He's like a 6-inch super-sized Pop, so he's going to be huge.
Yes. Those of you that have picked up the Pop Funko TARDIS figures before, it's that size. You know, the larger ones. You know, the dematerializing TARDIS and what was the other one? The Trenzalore TARDIS. Was it Trenzalore one?
No, that's Titan's Trenzalore.
So there was another Pop Funko one with like the yellow.
Yeah, that is Trenzalore. Yeah, but it wasn't. It was Titan.
Titan. Sorry, it's roughly that size anyway. So Davros, he looks really good because the detail is really good, and he just looks so cool. And then lastly, we've got the War Doctor, who just looks amazing.
I'm glad you said that because I think he looks brilliant, and I'm surprised that he hasn't got more attention when these got pasted yesterday, because people are mainly excited about like the other figures, and I think the War Doctor one possibly looks the best. I think he's brilliant.
He does look amazing.
Yeah,
even though he's quite a simple figure, he doesn't have any props with him. He's holding his little Sonic, but
he's got his little Sonic.
But just the hair sculpt and the little goatee beard and the jacket, he looks so good.
He's a brilliant figure, the wrinkles around the eyes. He's great.
He's an absolute pickup for me. I think him, the 12th Doctor with the guitar, and the Tenant, the blue suit in the hand.
Yeah.
I think just looks absolutely brilliant.
I guess I know some people, does it bother you that Davros is big? Some people were moaning about that. They were saying, well, why does he need to be supersized? Which I get, because they want it to be in scale with the other figures, but I think is awesome to have a giant Davros. I think he'll be great.
Yeah, I mean, there is a small part of me that thinks, he's going to be way out of place now on the shelf with all the other regular size.
Just put the others, hang on, let me get it right. Put him in the background so he's further away and have the figures closer in your shelf, and then it'll be sort of in proportion.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
There you go, solved.
But I think it'd be cool because with those larger 6-inch ones, you can get a lot more detail. And I think with Davros, that's needed because like the little control console and the stuff that he sits in, I think it'll be good.
Yeah. So we'll be picking up some of those, won't we?
Indeedy.
Yes. Right, and lastly in the merch corner, for those of you that haven't yet bought the Lethbridge Stewart novels, they've got a 2-for-1 offer going on up until the 1st of August. These we talk about these quite a lot, and they are so worth picking up. So at the minute, if you buy Moonblink, you get the next one, The Showstoppers, for free. I bought Moonblink on Tuesday on my birthday trip to FP, so I was a bit gutted when I saw this.
I bought it a few weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah, anyway, so it's a good offer. Also, you can buy the, how do you say it? Schizoid Earth, yeah. Yep. So, putting us into the X-rated section now with my mispronunciation. Yeah, that one, and you get the Beast of Fan Rock free, which is a great story. And there's also some other little bits and bobs on the website, so we'll put a description in the notes, won't we, for this? Click and have a look, but go to the Candy Jar website and have a look at the special offers.
Yeah, I'll stick them on now. I think yes, they're $8.99 each, which is really good value because they're cracking stories.
Yeah, so you're basically getting 2 books for $8.99, which is bargain time.
Yeah. Right, that concludes news and merch. Right, Adam, we your pal.
Oh no, I can't do no accent.
Come on. We found this up in lake. Remains everywhere. Anyway, what are we going to review this week?
Well, Mr. Sweet, we're reviewing the Crimson Horror.
We are going to the north.
Sweetville, an ideal community for happy, prosperous workers. No one who ever goes to live there ever seems to come out. I suspect all is not quite as it seems.
Time for a plan.
You do seem to keep turning up like a bad penny, young man.
The Crimson Horror. That's what they're calling it.
My plans must be accelerated.
Mrs. Gilliflower, we've got to stop her.
In the wrong hands, that venom could wipe out all life on this planet.
The Crimson Horror.
By
bad
gum, it's a horror.
The Crimson Horror. This was written by Mark Gatiss.
Or Gatiss.
Or Gatiss. Take your pick. Directed by Sal Metzstein. And was out in May 2013.
Gosh, 3 years ago.
3 years ago. Yep. This was back in the day when we had some really cool artists doing these really nice film-style posters for each episode.
I was a fan of these posters, actually. Yeah, I thought they were a nice idea.
They looked very good. One of the posters I really, really liked from that series, actually, I can't remember which, I think it was The Name of the Doctor. It was just like a broken, shattered window with Matt Smith's face looking quite sternly through. It looked very, very good. So those posters were really... I think they added a extra bit of oomph, sort of anticipation for each episode, because you got to see, the feel and the style for the episode.
Well, this was Series 7, isn't it?
Yes.
Or 7B or whatever, because they split it in two or whatever happened back then.
Correct.
And they were trying to make every episode like a mini film or something, weren't they? What was the idea behind it? It was supposed to be very epic, wasn't it? Every episode gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think the poster idea was part of that, wasn't it? To make it all feel very epic and big. And,
that's right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whether they succeeded with that or not is a question for another episode. However, I do like the film posters. They were a good idea.
They were nice.
And they were good. Right, so The Crimson Horror. The plot is essentially quite simple. There's a mad woman who has been, I wouldn't say brainwashed, but she's kind of being controlled by this little red worm thingy called Mr. Sweet. And the idea is that they're sort of taking over this Yorkshire town at the time, and they're turning humans into these like little display figurines, like real life little dollhouse figurine people, sort of experimenting on them with this sort of horrible red gungy venom stuff, I guess. And it features the Paternoster gang, who are sort of sent initially to investigate what's going on because the Doctor's nowhere to be seen. Turns out that he was into that sort of he was put into that big vat of red stuff, wasn't he? But the process didn't really work on him, so he ended up just being a sort of red zombie thing. Anyway, the Doctor and mainly Jenny sort of figure out what's going on. At the same time, they save Clara. Nobody knows what's going on with Clara except the Doctor, but they save Clara. She was one of these figurines. And at the same time, what's going on, there's this big, Mr. Sweet and Mrs. Gilliflower, and all of her sort of minions have sort of devised this huge plan to launch this rocket up into the atmosphere that's going to release all of this red, misty venom gun stuff. But what they don't realise, and the Doctor's trying to tell them, that's potentially going to just kill everybody. And, yeah, they do stop it. They do stop Mr. Sweet and save Clara.
Yes. So
it's kind of basic. It's okay story. Normally when we review these things and we say, on paper, this episode is, amazing and it's got great potential, but potentially the actual execution of the episode or the story didn't really live up to what that potential could be. I found with this one, even the story on paper, I wasn't really into. I don't know about you. How did you feel about this sort of overall?
I thought it had a lot of good ideas bubbling in there, but none of them come together particularly well. I found it an okay watch. Yeah, I don't know. Something's missing. I always find this with Mark Gatiss scripts. or stories. I can never put my finger on it. It feels like there was some really good elements in there, and there was a lot of good stuff going on, but it also felt hollow and just, I don't know, it didn't quite work somehow. Yeah. I don't know. I found it an enjoyable enough watch, but just I don't know, just doesn't hit the mark somehow. Yeah.
I kind of agree with you. I think it's definitely one of the weaker episodes of Series 7.
Oh, I don't know. I'm looking at the next story, and that's got to be one of the worst. But anyway, yeah.
Don't get me wrong. There are worst ones. Nightmare in Silver is potentially one of the worst in modern Who.
Yes, we've still to review that. So, yeah, I'm holding back on that one. But, Series 7 is a mixed bunch, isn't it?
Definitely. And I think this one falls down into the weaker bunch for me. Purely because it...
What was the story before it? Journey to the Centre of the TARDIS. I don't know. I didn't think it was that bad. I thought...
No, it wasn't... Don't get me wrong. It's not terrible. I didn't finish watching it and think, well, that was a waste of time, or that's one of those diabolical episodes. It wasn't that bad, but after I watched it, I did feel, that could have been so much better. I think the problem for me was the story initially just wasn't. Well, it just wasn't good enough. The actual story had a couple of good ideas in there, like you said, but I think even from the get-go, the story, before they even wrote the script and got into it, the story for me just wasn't very good.
Yeah, I think the story definitely needed some sorting out, and I think perhaps the direction as well, because it doesn't flow. That's what I found with it. It's all over the place. Because I love some of the ideas that Mark Gatiss has come up with for this. So I like the idea of the retina capturing the last thing it sees. I think that's a really nice idea. And the whole thing with the Mr. Sweet, and I don't know. I think there is some good stuff in there, but I just found it so all over the place. And I didn't really understand by the end of it exactly what Mrs. Gilliflower was trying to achieve either. And I didn't understand how she'd managed to get in the position to do what she was doing anyway. I just found it very bitty. I thought there was lots of ideas in there, but they weren't really strung together very well.
Yes, that was a problem. There wasn't any... there wasn't enough of a good motive for Mrs. Gilliflower doing what she's doing. The only thing we know is Mr. Sweet, which is this little worm thing, which is like it sort of attached itself to her like a symbiote kind of thing. It was basically saying to her, you need to do this. There was no rhyme or reason to it. It was just, you need to do this. We need to make this happen. And she's doing it. And we don't really know why.
Yeah, because I was trying to work out why she wants to... I get that she wants a sort of perfect race or whatever, and by using this gunk, she's created that, so she's now going to use it to wipe out, any imperfections. I sort of get all that, but it wasn't very clear, I don't think, like, particularly why. I mean, why would Mr. Sweet want a perfect human race? Why would Mr. Sweet's like a little worm? Why would he be bothered about having a cleansed human race? I don't know. It just didn't quite work.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I'm saying. The story in general just didn't hit the mark. And it's another one of those times where I'm pretty certain that, Mark Gatiss and Stephen Moffat are just having drinks at the bar. And it's like, I've got this cracking story for Series 7. We've got to do it. And Stephen Moffat in a drunken state's like, yeah, we'll do that, yeah. And then before you know it, the handshake's done and he has to do it.
Yeah.
So when Stephen Moffat's reading the script, he's like, oh, what have I got myself into here? I can't tell him no. I've said it now. I said I'll do it. So he's probably said, yeah, there's a few things we can change. But even then, after you've made your amends and changes and you've tried to improve the script and all that stuff, the initial seed, the story, just you can't sort of paint over the cracks, if you like. And there are some good things. Don't get me wrong. There are some good things in this episode. There are some good stuff. Like, it looks amazing.
The production and visuals are great. And when I said about some of the ideas as well, I love the surrealness of it, which is something Mark Gatiss does come up with quite a lot and does quite well. So, like the bit where the doctor's opening the door and you've got two people sat in like a giant glass sort of thing. And just visually ideas like that, and the giant speakers that look like gramophone records, and don't know, the actual look of this episode is really, really good, I think.
Yes, the design, like those huge gramophones and stuff like that, they look really cool. And some of the other things, like the opening shot where that guy is walking up the sort of Yorkshire alley, and in the background is all these like factories, and you can see for miles, and so it looks really nice. It's very the design of the episode and the production, like you say, is really good. I quite like Murray Gold's music in this as well. It had this sort of subtle horror feel to it, which is really good. It
fits the period. It's it's quite nice.
Yeah, it wasn't overbearing, because there are times where the music sort of overshadowed the dialogue sometimes and stuff like that. But this was fairly good, I thought. The music was really good. Also, I really liked the sort of look and feel of Mr. Sweet, the little wormy thing.
Yeah, I thought he was quite well done, actually.
Yeah, they had that nice mix of sort of disgusting little thing that you like.
Still kind of cute.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, it's got this horrible little, like his little mouth looks disgusting, and every time he's on scene, he has this like little squelching sound when he's moving and stuff.
When he's trying to escape at the end.
Yeah.
Oh,
but on the same token, he's a bit of a cute little thing. You don't really want to see him get destroyed into snot, but
no, that's quite gross, that bit at the end, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. So he was done quite well.
Yeah, I thought he was done quite well. I quite like Mr. Sweet. I'm surprised they haven't brought out a figure of him. I mean, too late now, but back then when the character was throwing out figures of just about everything, I'm surprised they didn't do one for him. I'll tell you what did surprise me. I'd forgotten how long it takes the Doctor and Clara to get into this episode, because I was thinking this is about 15 minutes before they appear, I think. And I was thinking, this isn't supposed to be a Doctor Light one, is it? Like Blink or some of those. So it's, I was sort of thinking, where's the Doctor, for goodness sake? Because it's basically the Paternoster gang pretty much keep this episode rolling until Matt appears 15 minutes in. And I'll tell you what, that's one of the things that, the reveal of Matt in that cell should have been done a lot better, because it should have been really shocking. You should have been like, oh my, how's the, but it's just kind of like, oh, Matt's in there. I thought it would be. I don't know. I think that maybe the direction let this down a little bit as well, in terms of things like that. Should have been a big reveal, and perhaps done just a little bit sooner to make it a bit more shocking, because by the time he does make an appearance, it's kind of got to be him that's in there. I don't know. But yeah, so when they do finally appear, I think the story sort of kicks in, but also gets quite messy.
I think the makeup side of things was pretty good. Like, when somebody has been exposed to that stuff, the red skin, it does look really cool.
It does, yeah.
But maybe the reveal of the Doctor in that state should have been a little bit more.
It should have been a shock.
Yeah, it should have been one of those moments where, like that sort of quintessential Doctor Who moment where the kids are hiding behind the cushion and the adults are like a bit scared as well, but they're intrigued. But yeah, it was a bit of it's just the Doctor with a red face.
Yeah, you weren't surprised when it was him, were you? I mean, who else? No.
But yeah, I mean, it was okay. It was just, like exactly the same as you, mate. I just wanted it to be a bit more of a shock. And then it's quite, maybe they should have drawn that out a bit more as well. Like having the Doctor in this sort of vulnerable, helpless state. Because it doesn't take long, really, for Jenny to drag him out, shove him in the chamber, and then he's back to normal.
Yeah.
I
know what you mean. I suppose, I don't know. See, some parts of this story to me feel really rushed and crammed in. Because I was thinking sort of halfway through this, should it have been a two-parter? Because it seems to me that they've thrown everything in the kitchen sink in, and none of it's making for... That's what I mean about it being clunky. So the pacing's very all over the place in this. We've got some comedy scenes with... Strax 1 minute, then we've got horror elements the next, and it doesn't quite sort of fit together. But I was sort of wondering that. I was thinking, would it have worked better as a two-parter where we got... Because you know the flashback scene where the Doctor explains how we got in the cage in the first place?
Yes.
I thought that was a really nice idea and sort of broke the episode up quite nicely. But it did kind of make me think, is that just because time-wise we just need to explain it quickly? Whereas if we'd had a two-parter, we could have seen all that and got, like the Paternoster gang seemed to be in full swing right at the start of this episode. So it almost feels like we're coming in halfway through a story. I don't think the story's strong enough for a two-parter, but I also think it's very cluttered and needed a bit more room to breathe to make it more enjoyable. Because I just found myself thinking it's scene after scene of stuff going on, but I'm not really that invested in it, if you know what I mean.
No, I agree. It's it all seems to be sort of crammed in.
Yeah.
There's quite a few things going on. And it can be quite difficult, to make a story which is 45 minutes long. It can be quite difficult to make it sort of complex, but not so complex that people don't know what the hell's going on. But at the same time, you do need, like the most important elements, you need to give them time and, like you say, room to breathe. And I think that was one element that could have benefited from that is why the Doctor's there in the first place. And I don't know. We could debate this for hours. You've got that thing where some episodes of Doctor Who are really good, like some of the classic stories where we just pick up, the Doctor's, doing something and we're just there. Sort of we're en route to whatever's happening at the time. So it can work that way. But I think in this instance, I think it just needed a bit more of a, not necessarily a reveal of Mr. Sweet, but certainly. Mrs. Gillyflower, certainly, what her and how she got there and how Sweetville was set up and all that stuff and why the Doctor was there, because it does get rushed in that little flashback sequence, which looks quite good with the whole film.
It's a nice,
and all that. It does look nice, but it's extremely rushed. So you're like, right, Jenny's freed him, and even he says in the episode, I'll make it quick or something like that. I'll be quick.
Yeah.
So, they're even saying to the viewer, we haven't had time to do all this stuff. So here's a quick recap.
Here's what happened. Yeah, it's a nice little scene, but it just sort of made me think, is that just to sort of bring us up to speed with what's happened? Yeah. Because we don't really, again, Clara's hardly in this, is she? So we don't really sort of know what's happened to her. She's very Clara-like this episode, which I think is probably a good thing in some ways. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's no, I agree. And there's also the situation with all of there's like a lot of unexplained things as well. Like all of the people that are working for Mrs. Gillyflower, we don't know why they're working for her, because they all of them don't have a Mr. Sweet symbiote on them. So how has she done that? Has she sort of brainwashed them all? Has she, threatened them all? Has she, whatever? We don't know.
I can only assume it's because she's scaring them with this apocalypse stuff.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is she keeps preaching. Could be that.
Could be that, yeah. Oh, yeah, because she holds a few seminars, doesn't she? And she puts the scaremonger on everybody and says the apocalypse is nigh and all that jazz. So, yeah, maybe it's just out of fear. And then we also have the whole Sweetville thing itself. As far as we know from some of the characters that are talking about it, it's just popped up. It's just there. 1 week it's not, the next week it's there and it's fully functioning, and people are going in and not coming out. We don't really know. There's no explanation as to why how it got there.
Yeah,
and all that stuff. So there is a few sort of empty bags that needed filling up.
I think it needed more time to breathe, but just unfortunately, I think the downside of that is it hasn't got a strong enough story at the heart of it to warrant a two-parter. Yeah,
true. Right, let's talk about some people in it. Let's kick off then with the Paternoster gang, because they are, they are sort of the driving force of the story, and it's a highly debatable subject, isn't it? The Paternoster gang. These three people who are sort of, because there was a lot of talk, wasn't there, around this time that they were going to have their own spin-off show.
I'm surprised they didn't, actually. And I think, although I only like them in small doses myself, I would imagine that kids would like these guys. They're I mean, Strax, I don't know. I can't speak for kids, but I would think they would find him funny, would they?
I would.
Whereas
say
I
so,
find
yeah.
him good in some episodes and annoying in others. But I don't know. I would imagine kids might like a spin-off of these back then. I don't think now they couldn't care less about them. But yeah, I think back then they might have made for quite a good spin-off. I think they work okay in this story, actually. I don't think they're too bad in it at all. I think they work quite well in terms of the investigation, and I think Jen is good in it as well. I really quite like her in this story. So yeah, I think they're all right. I think they work quite well.
Yeah, I like Jenny. She's a good character actually, because you've got that duality going on where around Vastra, she's very much especially when they're at their home and people go to see them, she's very much just the maid.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the sort of image that they need to put across to sort of remain normal in society. So she's the maid, she does all that stuff. But when they're out on the job, investigating all that stuff, she's very much the sort of Vastra's ninja, if you like. Yeah. You know, she's the one that handles all the violence and getting into a punch up and stuff.
Yeah,
so she's quite a good character.
Yeah, I think she's a good character. I think she works quite well with Matt's doctor as well. I didn't find Strax too annoying in this one either, apart from the Tom joke, which was really crowbarred in there.
Oh,
yeah. Which falls completely flat. I didn't find him too bad, because sometimes the Strax humour, I think, perhaps gets a bit too much, especially in Series 8. Well, no, actually, no, he's only in Deep Breath, isn't he? But you know what I mean? Sometimes the humour from Strax's character is just a bit silly. But I thought he was all right in this. I didn't find him too bad. I thought there were some good moments with him. And I like Vastra as well. So I thought it was a sort of little team. They weren't too bad.
Yeah, I don't mind Strax, you know. I think he's okay, though. I remember when he first popped up in this as this character alongside Vastra and Jenny, there were so many complaints from people saying, you know, this shouldn't be happening. You know, he's a Centauran. You know, when you have a Centauran and you make him into this sort of comic relief side character, it just makes the Centaurans, you know, it just dilutes their threat as this really good Doctor Who villain and monster and stuff. And I never bought into that. I never thought that was an issue, because, you know, out of a race of people, and there's potentially millions of Centaurans, you know, as a race of people. You know, to have one sort of rogue character is actually pretty good, because look at the Doctor. You know, out of a race of millions of people of like the Time Lords, you know, he's this rogue one character that's often very funny and, you know, stuff like that. So it's not really fair to sort of slap that onto Strax to say, you know, he's this one Centauran that lets them all down, sort of thing.
Yeah. Do you know what? You may have just changed my mind a little bit on that, actually, after what you've just said. Because I do sometimes feel that Strax has diluted the Centauran race in terms of being a great villain. But maybe you've got a point. Maybe I'll think again. Because, I do like Strax. I do think he does bring some nice humour to it, but I do sometimes think it does make the Centaurans into a bit of a joke. But you know what? I think actually more... What's that episode where... the Tennant episode, the two-parter with the Centaurans? Because they're a bit... I think that episode probably does more damage to them than Strax, to be honest.
Yes,
although I haven't watched it for ages, hence why I can't even remember the title.
I think it's the Centauran Stratagem.
That's it, yeah, with that annoying kid.
Yes.
I'll have to go back and give that a watch. But yeah, I just think, like a lot of things, the Cybermen, the Centaurans, the Daleks, their threat has been really diluted over the Moffat era. Since the show come back, actually. Sorry, I'm putting the blame at Moffat's feet, but actually, since the show come back, I mean, I don't find this new series Cybermen scary in the least.
No.
You know, not at all. So yeah, sorry, Moffat, I'm blaming you for that, but it's not your fault, actually. That goes back to the RTD era, doesn't it? But But yeah, I do think that's an overall issue, to be honest.
Yes, so I don't mind Strax.
He's all right.
He's all right. And Vastra, she's a fairly good character. I like her sort of authority and, you know, knowledge and stuff. She's very good, and the makeup's superb. I know you prefer the old style, Silurian. Silurians, yeah. But I think the makeup is so good for Vastra.
She, yes,
don't
I'll
like
give
it,
you that.
but it's
Yeah.
good.
Well, no, I don't mind her actually. It's just that again, it's just going that two-part of the Silurian. I just find I don't like the new design, but no, I think she's fine actually, and I quite like the way she plays the character and stuff. So I don't have any complaints to the Paternoster gang in this at all, really.
Yeah, it's pretty good. One character that I found hilarious in the story, was the guy that just keeps passing out.
Oh, right, yeah.
He
that
has,
classic gag.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was going to say, actually. Yeah, it's a classic thing, isn't it? And he only has a few lines of dialogue, but I just love the way that he pops up. And then right at the very end as well, when he sees the TARDIS dematerialise, and that's him gone again. He's on the floor. So he didn't really do much. I don't even know his name. I think it's... what was his name? It could have been Edmund.
He looks like an Edmund. I don't know what his name was, actually.
Yeah.
Looking at the cast list, we've got Dipped Man, Thomas. Oh, he gets a credit. I'll tell you the character I liked, who's only in a very short scene, and it's at the start, is the guy in the morgue, who's sort of obviously clearly loves his job.
Oh, he's in it. He's in it another time, isn't he? When the when I think the doctor goes to see him because he's got, or somebody goes to see him, and he's got like a jar of that red gunk thing in his collection.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's so funny, isn't he?
I just liked him. Yeah, I thought, again, nice little character actor, that guy. Yeah, he was good.
I don't know if he's a Yorkshireman by sort of natively, but he has a very good Yorkshire accent. Because
the accents aren't too bad in this, actually, are they?
Because he's the guy that sort of turned the title, isn't it, from the Crimson Horror to the Crimson Orror.
Yeah.
You sort of omit the H on the horror, that sort of typical Yorkshire.
What's that great line in it where they give him an alternative title and Matt does the brilliant thing that Matt does as the Doctor? He's like, no, actually, I prefer the Crimson Horror much better. But they say something else at one point, don't they?
Oh, yes, yeah.
Is that him?
Oh, crikey.
Is that the morgue guy?
It is the morgue guy, yeah. He's
also
talking about,
known as...
Yeah, he's talking about bodies turning up in the canal, and... Yeah, he does say something else, and Matt Smith's like, I prefer the Crimson.
Yeah, Crimson Horror.
He was really funny, actually. Yeah. Right, what about Mrs. Gillyflower?
Diana Rigg.
Yes.
Wow.
Great performance, I thought.
I liked her, yes, as the old crone.
Yeah. Script-wise and story-wise, I think we've already established could have been a lot better for this. But what she had, I thought her performance was great.
Yeah, I really liked her. I thought she was quite convincing as quite an evil old battle axe. And what she must have thought when she got into makeup and they were putting that thing on her chest, she must have wondered what she'd got herself into, I should think, having Mr. Sweet stuck to her.
Yeah.
That is a strange reveal, isn't it? When she starts undoing her top and Mr. Sweet's there and she's feeding it salt, and that is a very strange thing. This episode is very strange overall, isn't it? All these little things are
it's a weird one, isn't it?
Oh, well, I'm just thinking a lot of time I think back to like the League of Gentlemen and how that was quite weird, and you can definitely see some of that creeping through in this, I think. Probably not enough. It probably could have done a bit more horror, but yeah, I like the character of Mrs. Gillyflower as a villain. I think does come across as suitably just a nasty piece of work. I mean, she's horrible to Ada, her daughter, isn't she?
Yeah.
And that's her daughter in real life, isn't it?
I don't know.
All right, I'm just going to check that.
Yes, but Mrs. Gillyflower, and there was also when we
it is. Yeah,
it is. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
When we talk about weird stuff, the actual concept as well of having the people turned into sort of these motionless figurines, that's really creepy as well. That's a bit of a weird one.
Yes, yeah.
But yes, Mrs. Gillyflower, I thought she was good as the sort of merciless old crone, as you put it, because she actually, it's clear that she doesn't give two hoots about Ada.
No, and it turns out that because she says that Ada's blindness and scars were inflicted on by her ex-husband or something, doesn't she?
Yeah.
When in actual fact it turns out it was her experimenting on her.
That's right. Yep.
So, because you were saying earlier, is Mrs. Gillyflower really an evil old bag, or is it because of this Mr. Sweet that's attached to her, or is it both? I think it's a bit of both. I think she was a bit of an old dragon to begin with, and having Mr. Sweet has just pushed her over the edge. Because I absolutely love the scene at the end when she gets knocked off the stairs and she's lying on the floor dying, and Ada comes over and she asks if Ada will forgive her, and Ada says, never. But what I love is Mrs. Gilliflower loves it. It's like she wanted her to say that, didn't she? She's like, good.
That's my girl, yeah.
That's my girl, yeah. It's like if she'd have said, of course I forgive you, she'd have probably slapped her just before with her final breath, So I really liked that. She's just sort of, I wouldn't say evil through and through, but she's just a particularly vile person, And I thought she played it really well, yeah.
Yes, and Ada, I thought she was really good. There are times when you see actors playing blind people and they kind of get it, but there are certain scenes where they let it slip, and when they're talking to people, they're looking straight at them and all that stuff. But I thought that Rachel Sterling was really good playing like the sort of blind, deprived daughter. I thought she was really good.
Yeah, I did as well. I thought she gave a really great performance. Yeah, good, well acted, like you said. I like it when she finds out that Monster Doctor has escaped, and she's like, "No," because it's No, I thought she was a really nice performance actually, and I'm just reading down because apparently I think they are mother and daughter in real life, and apparently Mark Gatiss sort of pretty much created the parts for them. I'm reading to an extent anyway, because they've never acted together in a production up until this point is what it was. I think he got chatting to him somewhere, probably some party or whatever, and they said, "Oh yeah, we're both actors, but we've never been in something together," and because we've never sort of seen a script that we want to be in something together. And he said, "Well, let's do something about that." So I think that's how they ended up being in these roles. But it works really, really well. I think. Yeah,
it does.
Yeah,
very good.
I like that.
Right. Let's get Clara out of the way because she's hardly in it.
She's hardly in it, is she? And when she is in it, I wish she wasn't, because something about Series 7 Clara, I don't know what it is. She's just cocky, and she doesn't feel like she's giving much of a performance. And I don't know, I didn't click with Clara at all until she hooks up with Capaldi, really. Mm-hmm. When I think Jenna really sort of, and it might be down to the script, it might not be Jenna's fault. But she just feels like a really hollow character in this, and I don't like her sort of smugness at all. So, not a fan of Clara. I'm glad she's only in it briefly.
She is only, which is quite good. I mean, there's quite
the bit with the chair's funny. I'll give her that.
Oh,
when the doctor gets his Sonic out, she's like, "Oh, we don't need that. I've got a chair." I thought, that's fun. Yeah,
it's pretty good. She has quite a key scene at the end, though, when she finds the laptop. I know you don't like it, and I know a lot of fans of it's too
awful.
I know, but it's quite key in sort of the overall arc for Series 7.
It's an absolutely terrible bit of writing. I think the Moffat came in and wrote it, didn't he? Didn't he write that?
Absolutely, Moffat all over it, because
it's dreadful.
Because they go through like the photos, don't they, that they found of her? But
these annoying kids, yeah.
But then they find the Victorian photo, and she doesn't know. She doesn't recognise that one. So it's like a sort of timey-wimey bit where it's like a future episode or a future story where she's in she just doesn't recognise that photo of herself as the Victorian version of Clara. So it's definitely Moffat all over it. But it's quite key for the overall series.
It's key for the arc, but it brings in those annoying kids. Why would they suss that she's a time traveller? Why would they even find these pictures? I hate that end scene. I literally, if I ever watch this episode again, I will literally switch off when the TARDIS leaves, because it ruins it. Well, it's not that great anyway, but it's a terrible scene. It's really badly written. It's really badly acted, and it's only there to serve a purpose to get the kids into the next episode and like you said, to forward the arc of Clara. I'm just going to start that because I hate that scene. It makes me want to smash my television set.
Okay.
It does. I hate it.
Right.
I knew it was coming up all the way to the episode. I kept thinking that blimmin' end scene. Yeah.
Right, while Adam sits down.
I'm just going to take a swig of water.
Yeah, so Clara's not in it much, which is not a bad thing overall. Let's talk about the Doctor, Mr. Smith.
Matt Smith in a bowler hat's absolutely superb.
Looks good in a bowler hat.
He does. He really suits a bowler hat. Yeah.
Great performance. I think it's not his fault, but I think they could have done a bit more with him. You know, like we said when they revealed him as as like the frozen character in the Redskin. I think they could have done a bit more around that to make it a bit more shocking. So I think that's not his fault. I think that's more of a directional thing.
Yeah.
But he still plays it very well. You know, he's still, he's just his mouth sort of gaping open, and he's trying to sort of direct Jenny on where to go and stuff like that. And then when he's back to his normal self, it's really good Matt Smith, isn't it? It's like that sort of nice little quick comical bits mixed with sort of quite, not emotional, but quite sort of intense moments. Really classic, great Matt Smith as the Doctor.
Yeah, Matt always does handle the humour well, I think. I think that is one thing. I think Moffat got the character right for his Doctor, and I think Matt ran with it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I do. I can't think of many episodes where Matt's not good, apart from one that is springing to mind, which we haven't reviewed yet, so I'm not going to say it. But I generally think Matt's a great Doctor, and I feel he often holds stories together. I think he's really good fun in this one. Like you said, does a good accent, does the humour well, does the horror well. It's quite horrible when he's the monster. You sort of think, because he can't sort of speak almost, can he? Yeah. He's like, so that's quite horrific. So another great performance from Matt, I think.
Yes, and thank God for Matt Smith sometimes, honestly, because some of the stories that he had to work with are shocking.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for him, they would have gone down, they would have been so, you can only do so much, can't you, with what you're given, so if you have to act in a bad story with a bad script, you just got to suck it up and deal with it. Someone like Matt Smith, who probably doesn't have much power in terms of, I want that rewritten, I want that changed, we probably can't, as the leading man, he probably has some influence, but he can't just turn around to Stephen Moffat and say, that's crap. No. I'm not going to do it. You sort of have to suck it up and get on with it. So this is one of those examples where if it wasn't for Matt Smith, this would have been like a 1 out of 10 job.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the Paternoster gang bring it up slightly for me. I think the story kind of works well around them.
That's true, actually. That's a bit harsh. Maybe it would have been a lower score anyway.
Yeah.
But that was quite, that's quite indicative of Series 7 and probably most of Series 6, actually, where there was some not fantastic stories, but yet Matt Smith somehow manages to pull it out of, a potentially terrible episode. So thank God for Matt.
Yeah, he's always fun when he's on screen. I think that's good. Like you said, even if you get a below par story, I think Matt's always quite fun to watch.
Yeah, yeah, and that bit where Mrs. Gilliflower falls over the balcony down the stairs, sort of leans over. He's like, "Oh, it's gonna hurt." He doesn't really show any concern. He's sort of that funny.
You sort of think she's got to come up. I must admit, the first time I watched this, I didn't like I didn't like the Doctor's reaction when Mr. Sweet gets killed, because I felt it seemed out of place for the Doctor, because I was thinking, no, he always sort of he'll always look after a race, even if they're evil, he'll always try and make them see the right side, a bit like the Silurians. He'll always try and show them that there's another way. So when Mr. Sweet gets splattered by Ada, and the Doctor kind of just, I thought he laughed. He doesn't laugh, actually, does he? He kind of just sort of pulls a funny face, and he's not really bothered. That bugged me the first time I ever watched this. I was thinking, no, the Doctor wouldn't. He'd probably try and stop her and say, because he's going to take Mr. Sweet back to wherever, isn't he? He's going to just, basically take him off of Earth, get rid of him. So I think, he probably. It didn't bother me as much this time, but I still think it's should have been a little bit like, he should have at least said, "Oh no, don't! Oh, you've done it now." But he doesn't. He just kind of laughs almost, and I thought that's a bit undoctorish. He was going to take Mr. Sweet off to a better place. Maybe it's because I quite like Mr. Sweet. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, there are a couple of times in the Moffat era where the Doctor does do that. What was that episode where there was that guy, the guy who played William Hartnell in Dinosaurs on a Spaceship? You've just reminded me of I know exactly what you're thinking of, because There's a bit
at the
isn't
end
there?
of that.
Mhm.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
He doesn't care because he could have saved him. And then he actually says something to that character, something like, "Oh, I can't." It's been so long since I've seen it.
And me, yeah.
But yeah, there's like a little line by the Doctor where he basically sends him off to his death.
Yeah,
you know, and that was very undoctorish because I remember at the time thinking, "Whoa, that's not the Doctor."
Especially not Matt's Doctor. Like you can imagine Capaldi's Doctor doing it. But,
Yes, but
not
not-
Matt's Doctor. So, but I kind of like that because it just shows that perhaps they are one of the same person, and it's a side of him that perhaps we don't see. I don't know, but yeah, it's interesting. Actually, I haven't watched dinosaurs for a long time.
Yeah.
We'll have to do that one. Yeah.
Poor Tegan, she gets a bit of a dig, doesn't she? In this,
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned that.
she gets
because
a
I
bit
really
of a
love
dig.
that.
What was that
She
about?
does. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
The gobby Australian.
And he says Braveheart Clara, doesn't he? I liked that little throwback to Tegan. Yeah, because he's basically comparing her to Tegan, saying, "Stop moaning about come back to Earth."
Yeah, because Clara's like, oh, something like we're lost because they land in the wrong time period or the wrong location or something.
That's right.
And he's like, I had this problem trying to get a gobby Australian back to Heathrow Airport. And I was like, oh, come on.
Janet Fielding would have liked that though. I think
Yeah.
she's tough enough to take it. Don't worry.
She was gobby though.
Oh,
trying to get back.
Yeah.
A broken clock time get. What she say? A broken clock tells better time than you. She storms out. Yeah. But yeah, a bit of a dig there against Tegan, but it was quite funny though.
Yeah, it's a nice little inclusion. Yeah.
Anything else you want to mention about this dude before we get on to on scores?
No, I don't think so. No, I think we've covered it.
Right.
I feel better for getting my rant out the way.
Good.
About the ending. Yeah.
Right. Who's going to go first? I think it's me.
It's you this week.
Yep.
This year.
I will give this a 6.5.
Oh, we agree.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hold on, Adam's showing me his notepad.
I'm showing you my notepad, just like they do on Countdown,
On
when they
Skype.
don't believe they've got the same word. Yeah, 6.5.
He hasn't rubbed it out or anything either. It is actually a 6.5.
Yeah, no, I haven't. I've scribbled something at the bottom. It could have so easily been a 7 if they'd have just got it together a bit more with this one. Because I do like some of the stuff going on in it. And like I said, I found it an easy enough watch. I certainly wasn't sat there, apart from the end, I certainly wasn't sat there, bored. I found it quite a good little ride. But yeah, no, 6.5. It potential falls a bit flat.
Yeah, 6.5 for me. It's just two real easy things for me on this one. The first one is the story just wasn't great. So no matter how good the script is going to be and all that stuff, just the underlying concept and the story just wasn't there for me. And the second thing is I wanted it to be scarier. I wanted this one to have more of a creepy, sinister, scare the crap out of kids vibe to it.
It could have done that as
Which
well.
they could have done, yeah, but they just decided to. Maybe that was, I don't know the reasons why, but I wanted it to be a scary one. Like what was Hyde?
Like the poster suggests. If you look at the poster, it's real Hammer horror, and you think, "Oh, this is Mark Gatiss. This is going to be jumpy." Yeah, and it wasn't.
Yeah, so that was it for me. But 6.5 across the board. What did you guys think? We're going to kick off with an audio review. This is from Alex Kingdom.
Hello, Gareth from the Ridley Books podcast. Now the Crimson Horror, or the Crimson Horror, however you say it. Is it the Crimson Horror? The Crimson Horror. We're going to end that now. The Crimson Horror is there. It's the best way to describe it. Like, I wouldn't choose to watch it, but it's okay. I mean, it's just not entertaining as a Doctor Who story. I mean, the Paternoster Gang are well written. I think that is what drives the story, how good the Paternoster Gang are written in it. But the Doctor's kind of, Clara's kind of, Mr. Sweet kind of looks like a small little jelly bean on her shoulder with a mouth, like that's threatening apparently. And then the woman, yeah, she's apparently the villain, but apparently she's doing it for Mr. Sweet. No, I don't like this story. I just think it's so confusing, but yeah. The only thing that drives it is the Paternoster Gang for me. But anyway, I also do like where Mark Gatiss had written in I've got a Sonic, and Clara goes, I've got a chair. Because it's like, Moffat, you don't need to use a Sonic each time. And it kind of seemed like Gatiss was writing that in his own script to Moffat. So I'm going to give The Crimson Horror a 4.5 out of 10. It's not one of my favourites, guys, honestly. See you guys next week.
Cheers, Alex.
Thank you, Alex.
Well done on winning the comp, by the way.
Yes, well done.
Yes. I do agree with him, actually, on quite a bit of that. But I won't have anything said against Mr. Sweet. I like Mr. Sweet.
Sorry, my cat's just walked in. Shut up. Right. Let's only one on Twitter. This was from a Twitter user called Whovianisms99. Great story, which features the return of my favourite trio. Surprisingly well written for a Gatiss episode.
Okay. Good.
Thanks very much.
Good stuff.
On Facebook, Callum MacArthur says, favourite story from Gatiss and from Series 7, apart from the snowmen. I like the inclusion of the Paternoster gang and the fighting scenes with Jenny. Monster not that great of a payoff, but overall I would give it a 6 out of 10. See you guys on Sunday.
Yes, nice one.
Danny Brown says, terrible. Why did the BBC ever think this was a good idea? Silly script, terrible villain, and the only thing holding the story together is Matt Smith's performance. Okay, maybe that's a little harsh, but 5 out of 10. P.S. Hope you had a great day, Adam. Enjoy the show.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, mate.
More audio. This is Owen Daly.
Hello, and hope you are both very well and enjoying the show this week. Congratulations once again on 100. 100 episode was great, but now we're on to 101. So, The Crimson Horror by Mark Gatiss. Now, Series 7, I think, was a dodgy time, and Crimson Horror is one of my favourite episodes of the series, which does show how kind of a bit of a poor season this was, because I'm not a huge fan of Crimson Horror. I think it's an alright story. It starts off very, very, very with great potential with the Paternoster gang investigating the Crimson Horror. But as soon as the Doctor kind of gets involved, I found the story started to slip in quality, and the Monster Doctor I thought was a bit of a boring addition to the story. It helped move the story along, but I just didn't find it too intriguing. Clara, I thought it was good how she was excluded from the story, because it would have been a bit too confusing with her and the Paternoster gang. But I have to say, Paternoster gang, I'm not up for a spin-off with them. I don't like them that much, but I really do like the Paternoster gang, especially Strax in the story. So overall, I guess, yeah, I really did enjoy the story. Well, I enjoyed the story, and I give it about a 6.5 out of 10. So thanks for listening, and enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you, Owen.
Excellent. Another 6.5.
Another one, yeah. Continuing on Facebook, Lewis Palmer says, probably my favourite from a pretty weak series. A nice, standalone, goofy, funny little adventure. Cast are great. Strax is all right in this. The Thomas thing does make me laugh. Not much to say here, other than I've always really liked this one. 7.5.
Cheers, Lewis.
Smiley face. Sammy Satine. She says, so, Mrs. Gillyflower preaches about the coming apocalypse, and instead of being locked away, she's allowed to keep preaching and put up this charade of keeping people safe from the apocalypse, when in fact she just wants to kill them all. Worse, she has knowingly taken a prehistoric parasite. I think she is seriously demented. The actress who plays her does a brilliant job. I feel sorry for Ava, her daughter. Her own mother blinded her. That's child abuse. And I do like how she beats Mr. Sweet to a pulp at the end. The actress who played her was in a Big Finish I listened to recently, and she was great in that too. As to the story, it's better than Night Terrors and Sleep No More. As to the Doctor, I especially don't like it when he randomly decides to snog Jenny. That's sexual assault. And I always thought the Doctor was better than that. Other than that, Matt does a good job in this. I like the variation on his outfit, but that ending with the Maitland kids, Angie and Artie, finding out Clara is a time traveller and bullying her into asking them into a TARDIS is unnecessary. I like seeing the Paternoster gang. Why haven't they got their own spin-off? I would watch it. Clara's okay. I still think the constant reference to the Impossible Girl story is a bit much, especially considering we know how it leads to. Overall, not a bad effort by Mark Gatiss, though I still think he's written better. 6 out of 10.
Fair enough. Cheers,
Thank you,
Sammy. I am dreading when we review Night Terrors, by the way.
Oh, crikey. Yeah.
Because, yeah.
Anyways,
let's move on.
George Coppen. A good but not brilliant episode. Mr. Sweet is pretty pointless. Rachel Sterling and Diana Rigg do a really good job. I just feel like something's missing from this episode, but not sure what. 6 out of 10.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Yeah, I agree with you.
Last thing on Facebook, Mark Atkinson says, great episode. My favourite of Series 7, in fact. I love Matt Smith's Yorkshire accent. Mark Gatiss at his best.
Yeah, cheers, Mark. I bet he'll be buying that guitar Funko 12 pop. Actually, he didn't like that. I thought he would. Mark's a real rocker.
Oh, okay.
And, well, actually, yeah. And I thought he'd love 12 of guitar. Turns out he didn't. Let us know if you're getting it, Mark.
And last audio clip, this is Jay Kent.
Hello, Gary and Adam. Hope you're doing all fine. Now, to Crimson Horror. I'm going to stop that. The Crimson Horror. I'm on the side that really likes this episode. While it has a lot of flaws, I think the characters are incredible. The story of Ada is so emotional, and Rachel Sterling is brilliant as her. The Paternoster gang are, as always, good, even though I have a distaste for Strax. He's so blatantly comic relief that he spits on everything the Sontarans are. Vestra, I think, is passable as she has the manner Solarians have, and Jenny is outstanding, my favourite of the crew. The Doctor is a bit raunchy in this, with all the kissing and expressions and sonic imagery, but other than that, I think it's superb. The settings are amazing, and despite everything that it does wrong, Series 7 continues its run of beautiful lighting and cinematography. But however, the last scene with the kids, I literally had to turn it off and walk away. It's bad enough that we have a whole episode with them. It's the less they're thought about, the better. You have a boyfriend who time travel. Shut up. But no, despite all that and despite all the bad things, I'm going to dish this one an 8 out of 10, an underrated ep, in my opinion. But yeah, hope you have a good week and I'll see you next time.
Cheers, Jay.
That was annoying, wasn't it? You've got a boyfriend who's...
Oh, don't get me started.
Thank you very much, Jay. Entertaining as always. Did you have anything over on the Geeks Handbag page?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I was so engrossed in Jay's audio, I've switched off the phone.
Choppy.
Right, yes, I did. Come on. Callum Johnson, he says, Strax and the Tegan reference were the highlights. Clara was the most annoying part of this episode for me, and it's got a very average plot. Callum is giving it 4 out of 10.
4.
Thank you, Callum.
So,
a lot of Callums.
Yeah, so quite medium to low scores for this one. There's a couple of people that really like it, but overall, not one of Series 7's best.
It's a bumpy ride, Series 7. Is it more bumpy than Series 6? Because I think there are episodes like this one, which, okay, it's not that great, but I'll happily sit there and watch it. But whenever I think of Series 6, I never want to put that set on. And to be fair, I haven't watched it for so long that my opinion of those stories might change a hell of a lot. I might love it when we come to rewatch some of them. But, I don't know. Series 7, it's a funny one.
Yeah. But the reason why we picked this one, actually, because when we were looking through our schedule of stuff and looking at episodes that we're going to review for each Doctor, when we looked at the 11th Doctor, we said we haven't done hardly any from sort of Series 6 onwards. We've only done 3.
I don't gravitate towards 6 and 7.
Yeah, so that's why we chose one out of Series 7. But yeah, it will be interesting to go through some of those other ones and just see what the deal is there with 6 and 7, because it is very mixed. Some people absolutely love it and some people just can't stand it. So yeah, it will be interesting. Anyways, that's a Crimson Horror done. What are we going to do next week, my good fellow?
Next week, change, my dear. Not a moment too soon. It's the 6th Doctor classic next week. So we're going to be looking at Vengeance on Varos. Vengeance on Varos. Oh, Syl. Can you do a Syl impression?
No.
Need to get some water gargle.
I was going to say, can't do that. I need to warm up, dude.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I threw that one at you.
Yeah, can't just say do it.
No. Okay.
Jesus, maybe
Save
Sunday
it for next week.
But yes, Vengeance on Varos. I've only seen this one once. I've had it on DVD for, I don't know, ages. I've only watched it once.
Got visions of you dressed as Syl in the London Film Comic Con, me pushing you round on a trolley.
Oh God!
There's a cosplay for you.
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to rewatching this one because I've only watched it once.
Yes.
So
yeah.
Going to be
a good one to do.
Yes, indeedy. And I think we'll do there.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us for episode 101, 101. Take your pick. Some great news items this week.
Yeah, it was some good stuff actually.
Yeah,
coming through.
Particularly interested in the Torchwood stuff.
Mm.
We'll keep an eye on that to see what Mr. Barrowman manages to accomplish with whoever it is on the end of this phone call.
If anyone can do it, he can.
Captain Jack. Yeah. Congratulations to Alex for winning the giveaway. We'll be in touch very soon to arrange the details. We'll get that stuff sent out to you. It's going to be a t-shirt with our new logo on and some other Doctor Who goodies. Somebody asked me on Twitter the other day if they didn't win the contest, would they still be able to buy a t-shirt? And the answer to that is yes, that will be possible. In the next couple of weeks, you'll be able to, there'll be one of those online stores where you can purchase it and they'll print it and send it. So we'll get the details out on social probably week after next, something like that.
Nice. I like the new logo.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you. Right. Thank you for sending in your audio clips and your reviews and all that stuff. Head over to the website, www.bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. You can listen to all the other episodes, plus link off to Twitter and Facebook. And you can also subscribe to the show via iTunes and other stuff. And if you are an iTunes listener, if you could give us a review and a rating, that would be fantastic. It helps us out a lot. Thank you very much. Those of you that have left reviews, you're so wonderful. They're really nice. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Remember to check out Adam's channel, The Geek's Handbag. Some cracking stuff up there. Just do a search for him over on YouTube and Facebook. Some really, really good videos. You will not be disappointed. Go and subscribe. Watch them all. Spend an afternoon just watching them all. They're so good.
New one up soon. I'm really pleased actually with this new one. I'm just going to do the final little tweaks this afternoon, so it should be up tonight.
Oh, cool.
It's me going on a search for the B&M sets, you know, the new Doctor Who figures.
Ah, yes.
But rather than just doing a little review, I thought I'd take you with me on the journey to try and get my grubby little hands on them. So I'm quite pleased with the new vid. So that'll be up tonight.
Nice one. Good stuff. Right, until next week. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam. I'm off to see if my Doctor Who magazine's arrived.
And remember,